I try to focus on, and there's a lot of people who spin this a bunch of different ways. So there's different coaching programs and entrepreneurial philosophies. And I originally heard it from what's called Wake Up Warrior way back. And they talk about body, being, balance, business. And it's essentially your body is your physical health and nutrition and training, all that. Being is yourself spiritually, your spiritual belief, your faith, your mindset, your confidence, emotional well-being. Balance is relationships and family. And then business is your business. Every single lesson in life, every single topic I talk about with these mindset ideas, or even just the idea of being relentlessly consistent, is going to apply to each of these areas, because you need to be relentlessly consistent in all these areas if you want to reach a long-term goal. And if you let any of these one of these 4 pillars crumble, I always say the kingdom crumbles, right? You have 4 pillars that are helping your kingdom kind of stand tall. And that's ultimately what is going to allow you to continue to thrive. Now, as far as being relentlessly consistent, I believe there was quite a few different things I went into with this whole idea. But I think one thing that's helped a lot of clients quite a bit, and it's helped me quite a bit as well, is a lot of visualization on the front end of anything I do. And I believe that if you don't vividly imagine what the end goal is and where you will be and how that will feel once you're there, it's very hard to commit to a journey of consistency, because we all know that any result that's going to last long term, it's going to take a while. I mean, we were just talking about this. Like, he said 5 years. I went 6.5 years training people every day before I started. You were just bringing up 1999. I mean, that's over 20 years ago of working at a single journey. Now, the goal evolves. That's why we have to be process oriented, not outcome oriented, right? So although we need to visualize that outcome, we need to embrace and enjoy the process and understand what we're doing along the way. Otherwise, we're so attached to this end goal that it's going to be impossible to be satisfied, right? The process is the fulfillment. If we reach the end goal and we're just check off a box, now what, right? This is why Olympic athletes who pursue training for 10 to 20 years to get to the podium, and then they get there and then they retire, they get depressed. Why? Because it wasn't the gold medal that fulfilled them. It's satisfying, but the fulfillment comes from the process. So you need to be able to recreate that process in life. And that's why life is about expansion of yourself, right? So this is huge for people, by the way, that have issues with the scale or are trying to lose weight. If you're so attached to the number on the scale, you'll never be satisfied. You need to really engulf yourself in that process to be fulfilled. But one of the things I do with visualization is this idea of pain and pleasure, right? And we have pain and pleasure on the front end of where we're at right now, and we have pain and pleasure on the back end of where we are going to be. And I don't know if this is exactly what I spoke about in that podcast, but I think this is going to be really helpful. And if you want to detour me to another part of that, please do after this. On the front end of the pain and pleasure, where I'm at right now compared to where I want to be. Number one, the pleasure is comfort. Where I'm at right now, I have already accomplished. So where I sit at this very moment is now becoming my comfort zone. This is homeostasis, right? This is where I feel normal. I don't have a fire under me. I don't have a big push. I don't have anything creating any type of drive or scarcity or fear that could be also motivation, depending on your perspective of which you look at it, right? And so that is the pleasure. The pleasure is not having to change. It's comfort. Now, the pain is the same thing. It's being where I'm stuck. It's being right here. So when I first started my weight loss journey, I had 50 pounds to lose. The thing that triggered me, I didn't understand this concept at the time, but it was very real. I looked in the mirror transparently for the first time ever. I avoided the mirror, I avoided the scale, I avoided pictures if I could, because I was just really unhappy. But it was the first time and sorry for the vivid image, people, I got out of the shower, I went to the mirror naked and looked at myself, and it was just really just upset. But I was honest with myself. Like, what are you doing? Why are you living your life this way? You have one life, you have one body. This is your vessel to take you from point A to point B throughout your life, and you are not optimizing it. You're not living it in the body that you could potentially live it in, right? And you have every reason to accomplish it. There's nothing really holding you back except your own self-discipline and willingness to take action and change, right? So that was the pain. So for people listening, your pleasure is your comfort zone, but your pain is that same comfort zone. It's staying where you're at because you're not fully satisfied or fulfilled or happy with where you are at, which is why as you're listening to this, you're imagining your end goal. If you have an end goal, it means you want change, right? It means that you want something different than where you're at right now. So that's your pain and pleasure right now. Now, that pain and pleasure has to be greater than the pain that it will require to reach your future pleasure. So this is where we look at it on the back end. where I want to be back then is 50 pounds lighter. Where I want to be right now is with a bigger business, with more people involved. It's with, a happier family. It's with more financial security. It's with a better six pack, whatever the end goal is. That's my pleasure, right? And I have to visualize that, because if I don't visualize it, it's not real. And right now I don't have it, so it's not real. Right. So if I can vividly imagine and vision and meditate and pray on this and really like think about it and picture myself in that, and picture what it would feel like to look at myself in the mirror that way. Picture what it would feel like to walk into a room. Picture what it would feel like to be the jacked dad at the lake when all the families are getting together. Whatever that thing is for you or for me, I have to imagine that. And that's my pleasure that I'm seeking. The pain is the work that's required to get there. Right. The pain is meal prepping. The pain is training. The pain is getting more sleep. The pain is saying no sometimes to drinks or to food, and as much as we want to promote flexible dieting, and we do, the reality is if you want to lose weight, if you want to get healthy, if you want to get lean, there's some self-discipline in there. You do have to sacrifice some things that are really enjoyable for us at times. We don't restrict, we limit, but limitation is still sacrificing at times, right? But the pain of that hard work and that sacrifice and what it takes to get to that future pleasure, that pain is never going to be greater than the pain of where I'm at right now, as long as I vividly vision that. And a lot of people avoid that too. They don't accept, own, and admit to themselves they're not happy with where they're at. And this isn't about creating doubt against yourself or self-hatred. And I don't ever want to promote those kind of things. It's looking at it from a sense of, I'm going to be honest with myself, but I'm also going to see the future and see that there's a possibility for me to get there, right? And the pain that is required to get to that future pleasure is not nearly as bad as the pain of me being stuck right here, right? Life is not about being complacent and static. It's about expansion and growth and learning and getting better and personally developing and loving more and giving more and producing more. That's what it's about. So to me, the best way to get relentlessly consistent amongst multiple strategies that can probably relate to this, it always starts with that pain and pleasure and that vision session, right? We used to always talk about vision boards, which I don't have a vision board anymore, but it's kind of similar, right? It's really vividly imagining yourself of where you could be and then pinpointing these pains and pleasures, maybe writing it down in a journal if you need to, and understanding the association and the balance between them. And that gives you a drive to accomplish that future pleasure or outcome that is unmatched compared to anything else, because you took the time to visualize what those outcomes and where your starting point truly is.